Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner.
Welcome back. And those of you that are new, welcome. It's PA Senate debate, another disaster for Fetterman. This was from PJ Media. I watched about 90% of it live. I was watching through timcast.com, Timcast IRL. So I got to hear some of their commentary, and it was spot on. It was embarrassing. Is it Christian-like to make fun of, I guess, or chastise somebody that has a physical disability? Probably not. We're talking about representing people in the U.S. Senate. We're not talking about a guy that's a cashier in a convenience store. We're talking about someone whose vote or what they think affects millions and millions of people, literally. Maybe even go to war. Yeah, so it does matter. Oh, gosh. I can assure you they didn't lower expectations nearly enough. I saw it. It was painful. I watched the entire debate and have to admit that sometimes felt bad for Fetterman. I'm sure he expected to have bounced back from the stroke quicker and stronger than he has, but Tuesday night's debate performance merely demonstrated just how far he has to go in his recovery. Without a doubt, Pennsylvania voters and indeed the nation saw firsthand he is not capable of being a U.S. Senator. Now let's watch a couple of clips and then we'll go to another website and do that story.
Hi, good night, everybody. I'm running to serve Pennsylvania. He's running to use Pennsylvania. Here's a man that spent more than $20 million of his own money to try to buy that seat. I'm also having to talk about something called the Oz rule, that if he's on TV, he's lying. He did that during his career on his TV show. He's done that during his campaign about lying about our record here. And he's also lying probably during this debate. And let's also talk about...
You know, I used to be a city councilman in the early 2000s. And public speaking is a thing you can do over time. You can learn how to do it like any other skill. He's had enough practice at public speaking. It's amazing to me. Let's check this out. Probably he'll be lying here too. Here's a question that's given to Fetterman. Let's check this out.
We'll have to make sure that everyone that works is able to, that's the most American bargain, that if you work full-time, you should be able to live in dignity as well, true. And I believe they haven't have any businesses being you can't have businesses being subsidized by not paying individuals that just simply can't afford to pay their own way.
That was a question on basically minimum wage. And that was painful to listen to. Very painful. At other times, he seemingly blanked when asked to clarify his position, such as the past opposition to fracking in 2018 versus let's support now. He's always been against fracking, and that's a huge issue, not just in Pennsylvania, especially western Pennsylvania. But I live just above the Pennsylvania border in Broome County, which is the center of the southern tier. I'm less than 15 minutes away from the Pennsylvania border. So I'm in PA quite a bit. And fracking is huge here in upstate New York. We're sitting on literally billions of dollars worth of natural gas here in upstate New York. We can't get to it. You know what that would do for our upstate New York economy? Oh, my gosh, it would be amazing. Let's listen to another clip here.
Create energy independence.
I must correct the record.
Just a second, Mr. Oz. I do want to clarify something. You're saying tonight that you support fracking, that you've always supported fracking, but there is that 2018 interview that you said, quote, I don't support fracking at all. So how do you square the two?
I do support fracking, and I support fracking, and I stand, and I do support fracking.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Fetterman.
I'm sorry, Lisa, but that's not just a statement you read. There are multiple pictures of him signing a
Now, the one thing I didn't like is I kept calling him Mr. Oz. He is a medical doctor. He was a surgeon before he was a TV personality. If that was Jill Biden up there, they would call her Dr. Biden. You know, that's honorary and not a real doctor. I thought that was disrespectful. Oh, gosh. You know, about his medical records in Fetterman. It's, I remember when they got on Trump. Trump was very open about his medical records. He passed everything with flying colors, mental as well as physical. Let's listen to some more.
The May primary. Last week, you released this note from your doctor saying you can work full duty in public office, but you have not released your detailed medical records surrounding your stroke. Mr. Fetterman, will you pledge tonight to release those records in the interest of transparency? You have 60 seconds.
No. To me, for transparency is about showing up. I'm here today to have a debate. I have, you know, speeches in front of 3,000 people in Montgomery County, you know, all across Pennsylvania, big crowds. You know, I believe if my doctor believes that I'm fit to serve, and that's what I believe is appropriate. And now with 2 weeks before the election, you know, I have run a campaign and I've been very transparent about being very open about the fact we're in use captioning. And I believe that, again, my doctors, the real doctors that I believe in, they all...
The real doctors that I believe in, that's enough. I don't want to watch the rest. I mean, it's painful to watch. This is interesting here. There was when he was mayor of a small town, which was a disaster, I guess 90% of the time he didn't even show up for meetings. And I used to be a city councilman, so I know what it's like. You've got to show up for board meetings and department meetings and everything else. And he chased a young black man down, apparently, with a shotgun. Ended up being for nothing. And he never apologized. Let's listen to this.
There's one person on this stage who's broken the law, we believe. John Fetterman took a shotgun, chased a unarmed African-American man, and put the gun, apparently, according to that man, to his chest. John, you weren't pulled over by the police. They let you go. You were the mayor at the time. Why haven't you apologized to that unarmed, innocent black man who you put a shotgun to his chest?
All right. We will allow a 30-second response to that, Mr. Fetterman, specifically what he was saying referring to the incident in Braddock.
No, I made the opportunity to defend our community as the chief law enforcement officer there. Everybody in Braddock, an overwhelmingly majority community of black community, all understood what happened. You know, they understood what happened, and everybody agreed that, and nobody believes that it was anything about me making a split-second decision to defend our community as well.
That was painful to listen to. Absolutely painful. It's just, you know, here he is talking about making things more affordable for families. He's talking about college tuition. And this is his response of what he's going to do to help bring down the cost of college.
How exactly, Mr. Fetterman, do you propose doing that to make it more affordable for families?
No, I just making it that much more, it costs too much, and I believe providing the resources to reduce the tuition to allow families to be able to afford it.
That's a proposition. That's a proposal. It's nonsense because I want it to happen, because I feel like it happened. In the end, this was unlike any other debate I've ever seen. It was abundantly clear that John Fetterman's cognitive impairment was an obstacle he couldn't overcome. Despite the accommodations made for him, it was questionable whether he could comprehend speech, and if he couldn't even speak coherently most of the time. And it goes on to praise Oz. I can't imagine that even Democrat voters who watched that debate felt confident that Fetterman can do the job. I haven't seen Dr. Oz in action before Monday night. I honestly don't think much of him before. I didn't think much of him before. After seeing his performance and his knowledge of the issues, I feel significantly better about his candidacy now. And that's the reality. Now, let's check out the other article concerning the, I'll call it, train wreck of a debate. This is from redstate.com. John Fetterman's debate was much worse than expected. And they go on to talk about, and we're going to show here some clips. It was that bad, and if you didn't watch it, you couldn't possibly understand just how bad it was. I saw about 90% of it, and it was bad. It was painful to watch. I mean that sincerely. If you're only reading quotes or watching clips, you will never grasp the full scale of disaster that unfolded. I have to be completely honest. I misjudged this moment. I actually thought Fetterman might come into this debate and meet the extremely low expectations set for him. Of course, he didn't. There's a video we already saw in his medical records. You know, it's just amazing to me. He talked in circles about my doctor, even though that doctor is a campaign donor. And my paraphrase of what he said is being kind because his actual quotes were largely incomprehensible. Here's his view on fracking.
I absolutely support fracking. In fact, I live across the street from a steel mill, and they were going to frack to create their own energy in order to make them more competitive. And I support that, living closer to anybody else in Pennsylvania for fracking to myself. I believe that we need independence with energy, and I believe I've walked that line my entire career. I believe Democrats...
Mr. Fetterman, I do have a specific question which you can continue on this topic, but you have made two conflicting statements regarding fracking. In a 2018 interview, you said, quote, "I don't support fracking at all. I never have." But earlier this month, you told an interviewer, quote, "I support fracking. I support the energy independence that we should have here in the United States." So, Mr. Fetterman, please explain your changing position. 60 seconds.
I've always supported fracking.
And that's his answer. I've always, even though she just showed him a quote that says he never has. We're going to leave it at this. There's no point in even embarrassing this man any further. I'll do this one more video here. Now, usually in a debate, there's a closing statement for each person. Even Donald Trump, who people say is just rude and just crude and obnoxious, and you don't interrupt anybody when they're making their final statement. That's never happened to my knowledge in a major debate, ever. And here's part of the closing statement from Oz.
And I've heard your problems. I'm a surgeon. Doctor, I listen to what you say, and I'm trying to help address. Seniors worried their Social Security checks wouldn't go far enough with the raging inflation. I've talked to couples when they make their first down payment on a new house, and they can't afford it anymore because of interest rates. I've talked to families.
You want to cut Social Security.
Mr. Fetterman, it's his turn for his closing.
And just interrupts him in his closing statement. That's what it is. And it was painful to watch, but here's the scary part. Here's the scary part. Right now in the state of Pennsylvania, and around the country for that matter, there's 45% of Democrats that will vote for a Democrat no matter what. No matter what. Scares the hell out of me, and it should scare the hell out of you. These people are ideologically possessed. They're cult members. City urban liberal types. CULT. If there's a D in front of their name, it doesn't matter. There's some Republicans that are the same, but the cult is much bigger and much stronger on the Democrat side. And this ideology possesses them. It's their religion. And that should scare the hell out of you. I know it does me. Until the next time, goodbye and good luck.